Start. MTC. Light, 2022, P03 No Gateway. The single most important change you can make in your working habits is to switch to creative work first, reactive work second. This means blocking off a large chunk of time every day for creative work on your own priorities, with the phone and email off. I used to be a frustrated writer. Making this switch turned me into a productive writer. Yet there wasn't a single day when I sat down to write an article, blog post, or book chapter without a string of people waiting for me to get back to them. It wasn't easy, and it still isn't, particularly when I get phone messages beginning "I sent you an email 2 hours ago." 2. By definition, this approach goes against the grain of others' expectations and the pressures they put on you. It takes willpower to switch off the world, even for an hour. It feels uncomfortable, and sometimes people get upset. But it's better to disappoint a few people over small things, than to abandon your dreams for an empty inbox. Otherwise, you're sacrificing your potential for the illusion of professionalism. Exercises. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Light, 2022, P03 No 01. If there is one recent change that stands out in student behavior, it is the decline in the willingness to read for extended periods of time. The reason is simply the competition reading phases. Until the mid-1980s, the only competition school really had was television. 1980. We still lived in a world that supported print literacy. There was still a collective memory about the experiences reading offered and a collective agreement about its value. That consensus is quickly passing away. When a teacher hands out a novel today, the first question in every student's mind is there a movie of this? If not, the next stop is the internet, where some websites will provide short chapter-by-chapter summaries, commentaries, and analysis free of charge. These sites support themselves with the extensive advertising embedded within the summary articles, a good visual distraction from the boring text summary. Today reading literature means reading about literature. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Light, 2022, P03 No 02. It is traditionally accepted that music is an art, that painting is an art, that theater is an art, no less than literature and, for more than a century now, the cinema. 1. Why not cooking? Its essential function of providing nourishment has caused us to forget that, in the hands of a great cook, a meal is capable of touching us as a love song does, of giving us joy, occasionally even of moving us to anger. To the extent that it detaches itself from tradition, which works to assign it to the status of an artisanal trade or craft, based on repetition, and insofar as its purpose is to stir the emotions, cooking, which alone among the arts stimulates all of the senses at once, cannot be excluded from their company. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Light, 2022, P03 No 03. Melatonin helps regulate the timing of when sleep occurs by systemically signaling darkness throughout the organism. But melatonin has little influence on the generation of sleep itself, a mistaken assumption that many people hold. To make clear this distinction, think of sleep as the Olympic 100-meter race. 100 m. Melatonin is the voice of the timing official that says "runners, on your mark," and then fires the starting pistol that triggers the race. That timing official, melatonin, governs when the race, sleep, begins, but does not participate in the race. In this analogy, the sprinters themselves are other brain regions and processes that actively generate sleep. Melatonin corrals these sleep-generating regions of the brain to the starting line of bedtime. Melatonin simply provides the official instruction to commence the event of sleep, but does not participate in the sleep race itself. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Light, 2022, P03 No 04. We do all kinds of things to avoid bad feelings, and often the cost of these efforts is that we don't get to enjoy life. The alternative is to accept our feelings in order to enjoy life. Acceptance doesn't mean you like something, want it, or even enjoy it. It's taking what is given, acknowledging what is, and having a willingness to let it be as it is. Accepting your feelings involves making space for them so you don't have to fight with them as much. I'm not talking about tolerating feelings, I mean welcoming or embracing them. It's not just tolerating an acquaintance, it's welcoming a friend, a companion. The unhealthy habits we do to avoid our feelings are totally normal. However, if you allow yourself to just feel your feelings, as yucky as they may be, you wouldn't need unhealthy habits. In other words, you're accepting the message from the messenger but not letting the message take over or change your route. MTC. Good job.